Hey there, folks. So, last episode we did a bit of a hodgepodge mix of things. We went through, we added in some on screen debug logging for our error messages and error logging that we have. And apparently that's not wanting to save. Anyways, we added that in, and then I also started working on fixing the known issue that was going to happen, well, that could happen, not would happen, that could happen with our flee point logic, or find flee point logic, which is we only search for one location. If that fails, we just gave up. Towards the very end of that episode, I realized this particular logic here that I had implemented didn't achieve what I was hoping it would achieve. This followed like just a clockwise pattern of it would check every 15 degrees to see if it was a viable location. And I didn't want that because it's not going to do that. You want it to look to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. So that instead of going around in a circle, it's sort of an expanding arc that goes around that it searches in. So I thought of a couple of different ways we could do this. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of this logic. Now, actually, let me bring up Krita, the error message I was dealing with for anyone who's paying attention to Discord. Control new, open that up. So right now, the way the logic is set up, we have our AI here. It will find a point. Target is here. Let's put an X. And right now the logic is it's going to just search this direction. Well, what we want it to do is do this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, so on and so forth. We want it to search in sort of a back and forth pattern. Yes, my wonderful programmer art there. But we want it to work that way, so let's get rid of that. So this would be obviously index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, no, as we go. 15 degree increments, it doesn't exactly match up with this drawing. So index 1 is obviously we're looking straight ahead. We search there. If that fails, and this is going to be however you want to do it. You can go to the right, to the left first, up to you. So we have a total of 24 indexes. So it's going to be 0 and 23. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know, if you notice, 0, 1, 2, 3. These are odds. These are evens. Okay, so there's a reason why I was showing that. So what we're going to do here is back in our code, if I modulo 2 is equal to 0, basically if we are an even number, else, so even, odd. Okay, so now we know there. What we want to do is right at the end here is I++, and we want to start I at 1. Okay, so going back to Krita, just quickly. Okay, so if I is even, we're going to the left. If it's odd, we're going to the right. Okay, so what we want also here is F rotator T direction equals flee direction. So the whole reason for this is we have our 0 index here, and we want to, like, where it's been set. No, it's not. T direction, I just realized, dot yaw plus equals 80, 180. So I just realized here we're not actually modifying flee direction and the base value, we're just setting the NPC's rotation. So this is part of that refactoring that I was talking about in the last episode. So anyway, so we have our T direction. No, we've already set the actor rotation, so we don't even need T direction. So we're going to go to flee direction.yaw plus equals 180. So the flee direction is what we want it to be. So that's going to be here. Because if you notice, we don't use it anywhere else. We use it there. Honestly, when I wrote this, we probably could have just excluded this. However, again, that's some refactoring. It's something you do later on when you're trying to clean up the code, make it more efficient. So we failed to find a point directly away from the target. Now we need to start going through looking right to left. So search location. Okay, so now we need to do, again, this is where it is not going to be incredibly efficient to what we're trying to do. Because we're doing things we really shouldn't. We're like creating a lot of variables, creating a lot of duplication that we don't need. And I'm just doing this to copy them over. We don't need the actual data type declaration there. Okay, so for odd, we're going to the right. Well, we don't need this. We need a variable. We need it to be I times 15. So that's going to be 15 degrees to the right. Here, we want it to be I. Let me just do the crit math here in my head. So, okay, so 0, 1, 2. So we want that divided by 1. Yeah, I divided by, yeah, okay. I divided by 2. And actually, I'm going to add a second set of brackets in here. Times negative 15. So the reason for the brackets, mentioned it in previous episodes, BODMAS, PEDMAS, whatever your schooling education system taught you that as. Computer logic executes that, unless you explicitly write the code in a way that it doesn't. However, that's the computer. If you yourself aren't 100% sure on the code, or sorry, if you're writing the code and somebody else is looking at it, you want it to be 100% clear what you are trying to achieve. So that's why I'm using the brackets the way I am. So I divided by 2. So if we've got 2 to the left, 2, which is an even number, it's going to go to the left, but we only want it to, it's like, because it's every other one, if we just did it with 2, what would happen again, we would go from here to here and then skip all the way over to here. We don't want to do that. We want it to go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. And then this way, what's going to happen with the code is it's going to go back and forth, and from there try and find this location. Where this isn't efficient is right here. We're actually going to, depending on how this code executes, you could actually see the AI sort of do this rapid flutter as it's looking for a point. That's where, again, this isn't efficient. But now we've got that, we can just go through here, copy this, put that in there, and that is how I wanted to clean this up. And again, this is going to be, well, not again. So this is an example of one of those few places I'm going to use an if else, because we're wanting to, set one or the other and then execute either of those. So just to go through this though, to walk through this again, like I say, we're actually, I'm going to move this and clean this code up a little more. So we're going to go from here. I'm going to put this up here. We don't need that. Why are you complaining? Don't y'all? Where are you? Oh, it's missing the 0. I deleted everything because I'm special. We don't want to modify it. We want to set this base right at the start. So that's some refactoring. We're going to use that here. We only want to modify the yaw. If you notice, we're not actually changing this flee direction once it's set. We're doing math compared to it. You could simplify this, and that's like yaws a float, right? No, double. So it could be something like this. And actually, I'm going to do that. Double new yaw equals flee direction dot yaw. Let's simplify this actually. New yaw equals no, because I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that at the start with that. So I understand the very first pass this isn't going to be useful. We're double assigning. Actually, I'm going to do this and see. I think that the compiler might complain. We're resetting the yaw value every time. New yaw plus equals our math. I'm going to copy this out down here, because then NPC set rotation. Simplifying things down here. Adding these comments in just to right. Actually, to the left, look to the right. Okay, so we had a lot of repetitive logic in there, and again, that's some refactoring you can do as you go through, and where we were setting the location, a rotation, getting our search location in both of these. Well, we didn't need to do that. We can drop out, or drop that back into the main. Didn't need to be inside the if else. But to do that, we needed this variable. And is it going to work? So I'm just doing the math to make sure this works in my head. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've done that, going through, I understand we're already 15 minutes in and I haven't actually compiled anything yet. So we've got our new yaw. We're setting it as our current flee direction, because that's our base. That's what we're working from. We're working from this direction here, the away from target. And then, like as I've said, we're going to go to the right, then to the left, then the right, to the left, right to the left. And again, that's going to be how if you want to look left first, not a problem. you just invert these. So if it's a even value, you want it to use this logic. If it's actually, it wouldn't work because this is the whole purpose of this. This works right to left, right to left. But anyway, so let's run a build, make sure I haven't broken anything with this code. I think this line here is going to throw a potential error though. But to go through and explain what we're doing here, so we are going through our first lookup directly away from the enemy, the flee point failed. So we need to iterate through, and this is going to be depending on how many degrees or how many iterations you want. If you want to do it every 1 degree, you can. That's going to be a little obsessive, in my opinion. Actually, I think this is only going to do 12. I think that might need to be less than 47. 1, 2, 3. I'll leave it at this. Because actually, yeah, that's just the front. I'm going to deal with that off camera. I'm not going to deal with that on camera, but so this is all working there. So let's launch into the editor. I'm going to pause the video here just because I need to let this build. I actually want to run off and do some stuff, but as soon as we are back in the editor, I will be right back. All right, so we're back in the editor here. Just a couple of quick things I want to do. I'm going to get rid of the wolf because I don't want the wolf to chase us. I want the deer to be in the scene. So let's bring a deer in, put him there. Off camera, I realized I'd forgot to do it, but I just threw a breakpoint here at the start of our find flee point. So we're going to hit play, and the deer might hit that right away. Continue. Nope, not yet. Let's see. Or did we break something in here? What did I screw up in the deer logic? So I was taking a quick look here. Ensure condition failed, false, and then component scene component went. Template mismatch during attachment. Attached instance component to template component. Parent character mesh 0. Oh, byte trigger. This is the one I have been missing in a couple. It happened with the so just open these up quickly. They're off on another screen. I just want to see if we can get these. Okay. Byte trigger. Byte trigger. I know why. That's the skeleton's missing. The skeleton. Let's do the same thing for the wolf. The socket's missing is what I believe is the issue. So I'm just going to open these up quickly because you guys may run into this issue as well. So, all right. So I just opened up the skeletons and such a lovely dog face there. You can see we have the NPC byte socket. Where on the doe we don't. So what we're going to do here, copy selected socket on the deer. Ponytail, where are you? That must be for the paste socket. Byte socket needs to go there. Save. And let's see if that fixes that error. Output log. Scroll down all the way to the end. Yep, we don't have that issue. Okay. Are you going to run for me this time now? Okay, what is up with your behavior tree? Random roam. Yeah, okay. So again, this is some of the other stuff you can run into. Your things aren't working the way you expect them to. So selector, flee mode, idle mode, attack mode, random pointers wait. Reaction value is equal to 0, to 1, to 2. That is what we want there. We don't have our range, that's fine. And that would be on our... that could be creature type. Creature... Oh, DD. I bet that was the issue. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That was the issue, is it thought it was a human seeing a human. So, okay, vector flee point. Let's just step through this code quickly. And this is probably going to succeed. No. Okay, so... There we go. So yeah, it found one. So it went through the first loop there. I'm going to continue, and off it goes. So what likely happened there? Shift F1, pause. So, and then eject. So what likely happened is because our flee point, well, it was basically, it probably found a point here that it couldn't get to. Show the nav mesh. Yeah. So it likely, this is my assumption at this point, picked a point and got a point up here, that didn't work. Because it can't connect to that, there's no nav mesh component connection there. So it was like, okay, well that didn't work, let's go off this way. Let's go off this way, so on and so forth. So right there, that shows the fix for what was the issue. We have quite a few people may have brought up to me regarding the AI wasn't fleeing properly, and that was because go back to the code, this failed, and because of that, it instantly just said, okay, it didn't work. Now, we don't actually need this code here either. So I'm going to drop out of the editor quick though, and straight back here because I saved the changes that I had made. So in here, again, some code efficiency and some refactoring. We don't need this value, so I'm going to remove that. I'm going to drop down and I'll explain why. So in here, let me just collapse some of these. We had that code right here where we returned failed. So if we look through this code, I just put that there so we can see where it was. If we have controller base, which we do obviously, if we're a pawn, which we are obviously, and if we can get access to the navigation system. If any of these are false, we return a fail. And the way the code execution is okay, if it's true, go in. If it's true, go in. True, go in. We're executing all of this. If this is true, go in here. Well, we return a succeed. Inside our while loop, if this is success, return succeed. We're going to iterate through all of this, and then, well, all of it failed, so we're just going to drop out, hit this fail condition. So we didn't actually need that in there twice. So anyways, folks, we are coming up on the 25-minute mark here, and I don't want this to be another episode where I sort of try to cram in something else. That was a mistake I made the last episode where we worked on this. The first version of this is I had done that logging message, and I thought, okay, let's quickly cram something in. Here's a quick solution. And I realized as I was writing it, that's not the best way. Because like I said, that was following a clockwise pattern where it would just keep checking every 15 degrees and eventually like, oh, it might even run directly towards the character, which you didn't want. This method, again, I'll check off camera, but I'm like 95% sure this method is going to do a back and forth check like this until we get to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because that's going to be 24 divided by 12. Actually, I think what this is, get rid of that. I think what it'll actually do is it's going to end up checking this arc. I'm not sure. That is something, though, as you go through and you look at your AI behavior, you'll be able to determine, okay, this isn't working, so on and so forth. What you could also do, if that's the case of where it is working, like this part you don't want, you could go through into the code. Okay, well, it's in here. If I is greater than 12, is greater than 13, continue. And then what that'll do is basically, okay, we've done the first 11 iterations to the right. 11 times 15 is 15 and 65. That would go 65, 78. Yeah, so if it's greater than that, you just continue. That means, okay, I'm done checking all the ones to the right. And we'll just check the last few to the left. So on and so forth. So I-22, that would be 11 times 15. Yeah. No, that's actually what you want there. So, excuse me. That is a quick fix for what I was doing. This continue just says, okay, we've hit this one. We don't need to check anymore down here. Repeat here. Actually doing that, you need to go I++. Otherwise, you're going to end in an infinite loop, because our I++ condition is down here because we're doing it after our logic change. So, anyways, folks, as I've said, we are hitting the end of this episode. So, as always, any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Hop over on the Discord, ask questions there. Try to help out as much as I can. Anytime I see things, I will try to jump in, try to debug, troubleshoot it with you, because I understand my tutorials aren't exactly like the best. So, but anyways, folks, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.